equivalent of a Nancy Pelosi. I don't like Nancy Pelosi, but she absolutely had an agenda, and she drove forward through every obstacle she could find, and she got her agenda passed, and nobody was allowed to even criticize her. And, well, people criticized her, but nobody was given any credibility because she believes in her agenda, and she's right, and anybody who disagrees with her is wrong or stupid or to be pitied, and she just absolutely plowed forward, and all of the Democrats absolutely voted with her 100%. She brooked no dissent, and there was none. I would love to have somebody even halfway that strong of a leader as our GOP Speaker of the House.
But Leslie,
we don't have that.
No, I don't want her. But look, number one, Democrats don't divide. Okay, because they are united around the desire to control fellow Americans. That's a very strong drive, and they will set aside differences to do anything it takes to control fellow Americans. They will. Okay, so number one, she's leading the side that doesn't divide. Number two, it's real easy to get things you want when you have Obama and Reid. Okay, John Boehner really was running 1/2 of 1/3. I mean, look, I think people were expecting too much out of Boehner. On the other hand, don't get me wrong, I actually wanted the other guy. I wanted Gomer, okay, today. But I don't think it's the end of the world. I think a great message has been sent. 25 votes against. That's the most in nearly 100 years. I think if people, look, Boehner isn't going to want to go through this in every 2 years. If people think Boehner is going to be the same pushover he's been for the last few years, they are going to be very, very surprised. I think he's going to pick apart Obamacare. I really do. I think he's going to pick it apart. I think he is going to do kind of what I'm hoping he'll do, and that is put the president in the position of wielding a very unpopular veto pen and using that to campaign for 2016. For the right. I really, I think that the rebellion against Boehner has succeeded. I think it's going to bear great fruit. But by no means
I really hope you're right.
Yeah, by no means am I impressed though by Pelosi, by somebody who can rally a team that never divides and get things done with no opposition.
Right.
Well, yeah, true.
And that's sort of another thing to consider. We're talking about how much of a failure John Boehner has been and how awful he is as a speaker. When you're talking about a guy who is disliked apparently as much as he is, and an opposition couldn't organize itself good enough to beat somebody who is clearly not a good Speaker of the House.
Well, and
how are you supposed to inspire any confidence in your ability to lead if you can't even do that?
Let's go back a couple of episodes of the Refinery when we were also talking about the Keynesian model being crushed. The very fact that we had sequester handled the way it was, and the House was the only brakes on the Obama administration or anything else, and the Senate wouldn't pass anything that the House had out there. It's amazing what the House has done. Even as bad as you find Boehner's leadership, it's amazing what they've been able to do and hold the line on. Now, nobody got near what we wanted to. And again, we're playing with a stacked deck against us. And we all know that public relations is not the forte, not the strong suit of leadership in Congress, and it needs to become so. And they need to be better about who they send out to do what messaging. And we've all talked about that. But given where we are, you definitely have to say that Boehner has managed to hold the ground and fire back at the president in some ways. It's not been a complete surrender, a complete give up at all. I don't think it's fair to say that at all.
No, and remember how much legislation the House presented to the Senate where it was immediately stopped in its tracks by Harry Reid. I mean, just
and Boehner's already said he's going to be reintroducing all of that stuff. Boehner's not as bad as the rap that he gets. He's not as good as he thinks he is, but he's somewhere in the middle. Wow. Sort of like pretty much everything is.
You know, I just wish that people on our side, look, don't divide. Don't decide to stay home. And here's why I say this. We just got to 54 seats in the Senate. Folks, I've already taken a look at vulnerable seats in 2016 and 2018. I wrote an article on this a couple weeks ago. I expect us to pick up 4 seats, even if we don't handle things that well. If we simply unite on our side, in 2018, we're going to hit 60 seats. If we simply unite, it's there for the taking. All we have to do is unite. That's if we don't even like each other.
Yeah, and the thing that's driving me nuts is everybody says, I'm going to leave, I'm going to stay home, and then that leaves those of us who are left to do even more work.
Was it 300 in which the line is hold while they're getting attacked?
It's one of the movies where they say that.
I mean, you know, it keeps playing in my head that we have to hold together.
Well, and also this has been something we were just talking about this before the show, but this is something that's been going on for a very long time. You know, we've talked in the past about how the Tea Party movement is very new. It's only been since 2009, and look at all that they've accomplished in that time. But it's like we just expect instant gratification. Yeah, we won an election, and now we expect them to do everything that we want. It's not going to happen that way for 2 reasons. First of all, it's a process. You have to take things back one step at a time, even though we would prefer to just leap forward. And secondly, the general population is not on board with most of what we believe. And until we change their opinions on things, change their hearts and minds, we're not going to be able to really change Congress or the government or anything.
And we're not enjoying the time doing it. Take each thing piece by piece. Give the public time to understand each thing that we advance and win. Don't try to flood it with a fire hose. The public isn't going to absorb that in. We don't have the media, academia, and entertainment industry broadcasting it for us. We have to do it piece by piece, but if we do, it's going to work.
I have a sports analogy. Oh gosh, I'm really sick. This is like several weeks in a row. But just because you lose the first quarter of the first game does not mean the season's over. Okay?
This isn't even the first quarter of the first game. This is the first 2 minutes. They had a good kickoff. That's all this is. I mean,
we need to pay attention to what uniform people are wearing, and be aware of who is on our team and who's on the other team,
and who could run in the right direction.
Oh my God, yes. There's so many. There's so many such obvious sports analogies that even Felicia and I can make the sports analogies. And we're not sports people.
Shooting. Okay, never mind. Hey, JD, at what point in the season did you know the Jets were finished? Wasn't it in the first quarter? I mean, there is some legitimacy to hope. Okay?
No, it wasn't.
But do you walk off the field? Do you leave the game as a player?
The players did, apparently.
Okay, bad example.
No, they didn't. Stop it. Stop challenging the honor of my sports team. That's unfair, and it's taking the show off topic. We will talk about this later, Andy. We will talk about this later. But one thing that I will say is that today, all day today, during this Boehner apocalypse, because clearly, this is an event that's signaling the end times. I cannot believe just how messed up things have gotten. I mean, we talked about it when Cromnibus passed, and there was a small number of people, and including some media sources on the right that were talking about, oh, we have to primary Trey Gowdy. Well, they're back, and they're doing this primary Trey Gowdy thing, but it's not just Trey Gowdy.
Well, Trey Gowdy didn't even have the courage to vote today. He didn't even show up to vote.
Yes.
I mean, gosh.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It was a weather thing. He couldn't get a plane.
Yeah, it was a weather-related event.
Publicly he was going to vote for Boehner anyway, so.
Yeah. Yeah, what a coward to say that he to not show up and then say who he would vote for. But no, he's a rhino because he said that he would have voted for Boehner. And you know who else is a rhino? Mia Love is a rhino. Mia Love is a rhino and should be primaried.
How and why? What for?
Well, she voted for Boehner. She voted for John Boehner. That was her crime. That was her sin, is that she voted for John Boehner. You know who else?
I also heard that she joined the Congressional Black Caucus today too.
Heard from Texas. Also, rhino must be voted out. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean that he won, so many non-traditional GOP votes in Texas this past election. Throw him out. He's a bum because he voted for Boehner.
Well, and clearly Culberson and McCall and oh my God, okay, Gohmert didn't, but who's the fishy? Who's our congressman who was? Oh, Ted Poe. Ted Poe voted for Boehner.
Yeah, it's.
I know.
Yep.
No, there are 216 votes for John Boehner, and clearly every single one of those 216 votes, they need to all be primaried. Every single one of them right now. We need to do it, and it needs to be done pronto. Look,
guys, let me ask. Can I throw a question out there?
Please go.
What do you think Boehner's next step should be? I'm going to say what I think, and then I want to hear what you think. Now, I think that the wise thing to do would be, placing people on committees, is to actually put a couple people who opposed him. But on the other, because I think that a unifying step is so needed right now. On the other hand, how can you not reward those who stuck with you? If you don't reward loyalty, you won't get loyalty. So I'm a little torn. I'm honestly asking, what do you think is the best way to go, and what do we say to people in light of which ways he will go?
This is something that this is the really ugly side of politics. This is the high school politics side of things that nobody really likes. But I expect that he'll take people off of committees. I expect that he will do the thing that we kind of all expect him to do, and not be happy about the people who opposed him. But it's really immaterial to me at this point. He's the guy who's speaker. We're not going to do anything about that. We're not going to change anything about it. The time to change it was when he was running for re-election. The time to change it was in the primary season, and that didn't happen. So if we all want to collectively pool our money and find somebody to primary John Boehner, please, let's do that. I would love that. And any other, I'm sure there are tons of those 200 some odd Congress people who voted for John Boehner. I'm sure there's a good percentage of those people that could be easily primaried, and we would find some good upgrades there. I'm sure there's a bunch, but not Mia Love and not Trey Gowdy and not Hurd. I mean, come on. We need to have some common sense here. You don't flush an entire team because of one vote.
Well, and when I wrote my article today, it was out of the frustration of the reaction. I understand how people feel let down by some of the representatives. I don't know exactly what they expected to happen or how, if they expected to go to a second vote, or how they expected this to work. I'm not even sure what the strategy was behind offering alternative candidates and having people vote that way. I don't know. But the things that I wanted people to walk away with in the whole process were several things. I don't know the plan to beat Boehner. We talked about there didn't appear to be a plan. Boehner and like Gingrich had done years before, worked to help get some of the people elected who just joined Congress. Those are the kind of activities that you do if you want to solidify a power base and if you want to grow your majority. You want to be in power and be the majority leader and still maintain your position as Speaker and expand your base, you're going to help get more people elected. That's part of